Hola, marhaba, good morning, bonjour, and ni hao. This is Mohammed Abu Shanab, and you can always call me Mo. Thank you so much for getting back to the podcast. We have a very interesting guest with here today. He have been living in Hong Kong for a long time enough, so he can be an expert in anything related to not just Hong Kong, but he's an expert in generally in Asia and even other jurisdictions like American Samoa. Can you introduce yourself, Steve, and how we can help our listeners and viewers today?
Absolutely. Yeah, thank you for having me. I'm Steve Peters, and I have a company called Base Consulting, and we focus on helping founders as an extension of their company with supply chain management, um, setting up companies in Hong Kong as well as American Samoa, and a wide variety of business consulting services to basically help founders succeed and actually execute on these ideas, because we know that ideas are super cheap, but execution is what makes all the difference. So what we try to do is make sure that things get done. So that's me. I'm based in Hong Kong. I've been here about 13 years in the area. I was 5 years in Shenzhen, China, where most of the electronics are built, like Foxconn, making Apple products and all that kind of stuff. And then I've been here in Hong Kong for about 8 years. So I know a little bit, but not everything. Still learning.
Okay, that's brilliant. So let's get back to the main question. It's why why Hong Kong was your main destination during the last 10 years, and why you continue doing business or live in Hong Kong?
Yeah, so I actually first came here about 13 years ago, pursuing a job opportunity I had in the electronics industry. And then I stuck around because my wife is from here. But for a lot of other reasons too. Hong Kong is a beautiful place. It has beautiful beaches, hiking trails. It's got the best shopping in the world that I think. Great food. And it's just a very safe place to live. So, I love it.
Brilliant, brilliant. There's many reasons to be there actually. So if someone you just find an entrepreneur from the US or UK or the EU in general, and he would like to get into the Asian market, and he have this idea about I'm going into the Asian market, so I think I'll base myself in Singapore or Dubai, and he thinking about Hong Kong. What kind of advice you can give to him, where you are the expert to Hong Kong, you actually live there, and you have seen how it's developed during the last 10 of years.
Yeah, I mean, Hong Kong has definitely some unique attributes. You're very close to China. So, in terms of just trade, in terms of like road transportation, it's a lot closer. Um, and, it has a lot of different kind of tax benefits. For example, there's no capital gains tax here. So, it's pretty crypto friendly, which is interesting to a lot of people that I talk to. Um, and corporate tax is 8.25%, yeah, under 2 million Hong Kong dollars. So that's about uh you know 250,000 US or so, something like that.
Yeah, good.
um
Yeah.
yeah.
So we can say so it's have a proximity to access Chinese market,
Right.
or you can say Asian market in general.
Yeah.
It's a very tax efficient compared to other jurisdictions.
Yes.
And from my experience, I think it's very cost effective compared to Singapore. Singapore is much more
Much more
expensive on
cost
the other
effective.
expensive side.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes,
Singapore is
yes.
definitely the main competitor in this area of the world. And a lot more Chinese factories are opening up Singapore bank accounts and businesses there, uh, because of, there's definitely been some, social issues in Hong Kong, I'm sure, as over the past couple of
Yeah, yeah,
years,
yes.
which has affected that. But still, Hong Kong still is, I would say, number one for doing business in China. If you're an entrepreneur and you want to set up a tax efficient place for your company, it's definitely still number one.
I mean, my can't agree more. It's like my comment about the social change or things happening in Hong Kong in general. It's like when people, I mean, when any political things happen in any country, there's people who doesn't like the change, so they leave, and there are others who come. So it's like this is happening almost anywhere. It's like in the UK and Brexit. It's like in different places in Europe and the Middle East. Wherever there's like change, you will have millions of people are moving or thousands, and there are others who can see the opportunity and they try to make it change. So it's like
Right.
I see myself. This is an opportunity. This is not something that I need to leave this place. It's not possible for anyone. I have a very interesting question about Hong Kong. Have you have seen the world is getting into, you can say we are now on the end of globalization or just one world, one market. I see myself that the world going into two entities or two different markets like back in the 1950s. So if anyone from the US or Canada, or we can say normally the West countries, and he would like to set up a shop in Hong Kong, uh, what kind of, you can say, the first question that always people ask, can I do it 100% remotely? Do I need to hire someone locally to manage my company or my business on my behalf, or can I still manage anything, everything from overseas?
Yeah, so Hong Kong, you can definitely manage everything from overseas, although you do need to show up to set up your bank account. Um, Now, there are sometimes ways to get around that, but typically you do need to come in and set up a bank account because it's very easy to set up a company here. It's a little bit more difficult to set up a bank account. They require some information, which is pretty typical. But at the same time, it's you know that's kind of the harder process of this. But we have a great partner with Zip.com. That's four Z's, uh, zip.com. And they do a great job at basically, ensuring that you get that bank account set up properly. So,
Okay, so you can do everything remotely.
yes.
Only the bank account you have to be there.
Yeah, physically here. Yeah. And I know that there are
Oh,
some loopholes to that, if you're able to, prove, maybe you can't travel or something like that. There's always like kind of a way. But yeah, typically you need to be here. But it's a nice
understand.
place to visit, anyway. So it's
Okay.
well worth it.
Okay, that's very interesting to know. What about that? If someone already having, you can say that he already having a company, especially in high tax jurisdictions like the UK or normally other countries like Germany, or you can say France or similar West Europe, where they pay, it could be up to got 50%. And they ask, if I set up a company in Hong Kong, do I be able to get a residency, or can be I consider myself tax resident in Hong Kong, or this is something
Yeah.
not normally happen?
Yeah. So there's a process that you can go through. And it usually takes,
Okay.
it can take 1 to 2 years to set this up. But basically, the basic structure is you have to have two full-time employees in Hong Kong, and they need to be using what's called MPF, which is their, subsidized by the government kind of retirement plan. And so, you have to put in a certain amount each month as a company owner into their account. And after a certain period of time, once you've reached you've ticked all the boxes, you can get permanent residency. And along with permanent residency are a ton of different benefits that are not, applicable to non-permanent residents. But typically if you live here, there's another way you can get residency here, and that's through marriage. And so if you live here for 7 years or more, you can get permanent residency through that as well. So
And when you mention marriage, I mean the other partner that you would be married have to be Chinese or Hong Kong's or
yeah, Hong Kong.
the
Yeah, Hong
Hong
Kong
Kong,
citizen. But there's
Hong Kong
also
citizen. Okay.
another way to get it by just being here for 7 years. I don't know
Okay.
all the details about how to do that. Um, but if you're able to, if you've been working here for 7 years, you can apply for it. That's my understanding.
Okay. Yeah. So there's different ways you can set up yourself in Hong Kong, whatever you are just opening the company and then you hire someone, or you have the option to marry someone else, or you're staying for at least a couple of years and then you can get even the permit resident.
Right. Right. Exactly.
Okay. Yes. Yes. Okay. That's great. And okay, do you have anything else to add about anyone who would like to move or consider Hong Kong as preferred jurisdiction to operate a business?
Um, so I've been here a long time, and one of the things that's really stuck out to me after traveling to other countries is the fact that it's a very safe place. Um, you can walk around here at night. Anybody could, and you don't fear any crime on you. I mean, there's really the only crime that happens is like maybe, somebody's wallet gets stolen, but it's very rare, even that. Um, there just really isn't a lot of crime. And so, like, if you wanted to, say, raise a family here, or you wanted to, um, you know, be a digital nomad kind of setup, there's a lot of really nice islands that you could live on. There's quite a few island communities that have expat communities. It's just like a really comfortable place. There, the cost of living in terms of, it's comparable to a lot of, comparing to other like Southeast countries like the Philippines, it's definitely more expensive, Thailand, all that. But in terms of safety, and what you get for that cost, it's a really well-rounded kind of setup. You have great beaches, great hiking, you have shopping, great restaurants. You're very close to everybody. All these other countries, like, Philippines is an hour away, Taiwan. It's everything's pretty close. So it's a really nice hub for doing business in ASEAN countries, hopping around, or just going for a weekend trip in Taipei, Taiwan, and coming back on Sunday night. Like, it's a great hub, you know. Uh, but safety is like really a key thing here. You do pay for housing. Housing's relatively small. You know, it's like kind of like maybe New York prices. Uh, not as expensive as Singapore typically, but other than that, it's a pretty nice place.
Wow, that's amazing to know. It's like what I can say from what you're saying. It's you can use Hong Kong as the hub base to access other similar locations in Asia, whatever it's Philippines, Taiwan, Macau, or even China. You will have like centralized location. I've been to Hong Kong, but just a very couple of days, almost 10 years ago. So I think the airport now is much bigger
Yeah,
and it's very well connected compared to 10 years ago.
definitely.
And yes, so that's very you can say very helpful information. So if anyone would like to get in touch with you directly, whatever he would like to set up the company or get a personal advice one, how people can find you online.
Yeah, so they can just go to basedconsulting.co. It's based, BASED, consulting spelled out, .co. And that's where I am.
Okay, perfectly. We will leave also the your full contact details on the description for this video or podcast, whatever you are watching us. And also we have another episode where Steve will explain more about a very exotic location. He have like a kind of semi-exclusive access, which is called the American Samoa. And if you can just give like a teaser about the next episode about American Samoa, that would be very interesting to our listeners and viewers.
Yeah, so American Samoa is in the middle of the ocean, and it's very hard to get to, but it offers a ton of tax benefits, especially if you're a U.S. citizen. But also non-U.S. citizens can definitely benefit from it. And I can tell you all about it in our next episode.
Okay, before we go, it's like there's Netflix show about Better Call Saul,
Yeah,
and the lawyer
that's what it's
Jamie
about.
is have his t-shirt about he have a law degree
Yep,
from American Samoa.
yep.
Actually, I've Googled this place, but they have a university, but they don't have a law school, which is it's a very interesting
Yeah,
thing.
very interesting. Yeah.
Uh, okay, so next episode will be with Steve about everything about American Samoa, how to register company, how to be tax efficient, whatever you're U.S. citizen or non-U.S. citizen, how you can structure your business, and also we'll have a comparison between Hong Kong and American Samoa. Thanks so much for being with us, Steve, and appreciate all the insights. That's very helpful.
Thanks for having me, Mel. Appreciate it.
It's my pleasure, and I will stay global, my friends. Bye bye.